Hello everyone, Ryan here with Product Impressions, and we've got something a little bit different today. Not the usual electronics or home goods item, but since the pandemic started I got very much back into playing music and thought I would try my hand at making my own guitars. So I got a guitar kit. This is from Harley Benton, and it is the model CST 24. Basically what that means in their modeling system is that this should basically be like a PRS or Paul Reed Smith style guitar. So let's pop it open and see what you get. The total cost of this is about, I believe it was $135 plus shipping, which these come from Germany, so shipping is pretty expensive, but if you're buying some other music stuff and you're so inclined, you could go ahead and get one of these. So let's open it up and see what you get with the kit. Well, the box that it comes in is a little bit too big to fit on my normal desk area, so there we go. 3 more boxes. Long, thin thing. I assume this is going to be the neck. There we go. Ooh. All right. Here is the neck of the guitar. Obviously it's going to have to all fit together very nicely in order for it to actually play well, but just right off the bat I can tell that these frets are pretty nicely finished. There's no sharp edges or anything. Yeah, it seems really nice. Everything has just like a single coat of lacquer on there or whatever. Something basically just to seal the wood for the sake of finishing it. I'm going to have to sand it a little bit just to get through that and actually stain the wood. Or honestly, I have no idea how I'm going to finish this yet. That's largely going to depend on what the wood of the body looks like. So here we have the body of the guitar. Okay, it looks pretty nice. I'm not blown away by the whatever that's called, the striations, the grain of the wood. That's not super impressive, so I'm thinking this may end up being more of a solid color, you know, something that covers it completely rather than letting the grain show through. But I don't know, I'll have to think about that a little bit more as I consider this. And it is nice to see that there is a binding around there that makes it look really nice, but when you look at how it's finished through here, it's actually just 2 pieces of wood that have been cut to finish everything. You can see the split between the 2 pieces of wood along here, but the full thickness of it is 1 piece, which is not always the case. A lot of guitars have a maple top on there, which gives you a lot nicer look, a lot more grain in the wood, things that really stand out. But for being just a solid piece, this is pretty nice. And over here is going to be all the other parts and electronics. Alright, so we've got a big bag of electronics and strings and cover pieces and all of that. This does come with a pair of humbuckers, which are 2 coils that get rid of the electric buzzing that often comes with single coil guitars like Stratocasters. I've heard that the electronics and some of the hardware in kit guitars is pretty much just universally bad, so I have some backup humbuckers or not humbuckers, P90 pickups, which are very old school style pickups that I may put in here, and an instrument cable and some Allen wrenches to adjust the truss rod down the neck, and instructions for the do-it-yourself kit in both English and German, apparently. So, yeah, all in all, seems like a pretty nice kit. One of the main things to look for in kit guitars is that the neck fits into the neck pocket very nicely. Let's just try and, yeah, it seems like that's going to be a very snug fit. I'm probably not even going to be able to get it in there just pressing by hand, but if it lines up perfectly, it gets some of the way in. So yeah, it seems like this is going to be a nice and snug fit on here. particularly once there's some additional layers of finish on there. So yeah, overall, I think this is going to be pretty nice. After giving some thought to how I would like to finish this guitar body, I think the two pieces of wood that make up the body itself are a little bit too different for me to really stick with a natural finish. So on top, I think I'm going to go with a blue to purple shifting metallic flake, and on the back and sides, I'm going to go with a wood stain to keep a more natural look, darken it up a little bit. We'll see how it looks. I think it's going to look nice. Yeah. And then after I've covered everything, I'm going to go over it with this protective finish. I've never done anything like this before, so it should be fun. All right, well, it took a couple of coats of the wood finish. This is pretty simple. You just kind of brush it on, leave it for half an hour or so, wipe off the excess, wait a couple hours, brush it up, brush more on, repeat. After that, it took about 3 or 4 days for it to actually dry. And then I put on 4 coats of this polyacrylic, which is, brush it on, wait for 2 hours, lightly sand, 220 grit finishing sandpaper, brush on a little bit more, lightly, wait 2 hours, sand, repeat. I did that 4 times. And so the guitar body went from this is the front of the guitar body, to this, which I think looks very nice. You can still see some brush marks and what have you, particularly in the light that's reflecting, but I'm gonna get some rubbing compound, try to buff it down to a nice even shine, which I think is going to look very nice. The front, I'm going to be doing some spray paint, which today looks like a good day for. I've decided to go with a blue-purple finish. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. You can see the like metallic sparkle and color shifting of it in the cap a little bit. But in order to really get that working, you need a black base coat. So doing a quick cover with a black base coat and then moving on to the color shifting finish. To do that, everything needs to be taped off and, you know, set up so that you're only going to spray what you need to. So I've lightly sanded the face of this and the face of the guitar to remove any finish that they had on there. We're going to spray paint that black. Everything else is covered up, so it's not going to get paint on the rest of it. Yeah, we'll see how long this takes. Well, I put down the first coat of black paint. Now we're going to do a little bit more. Pretty simple. Just make sure that this is shaken up, and then spray 8 to 10 inches away from whatever you're spraying. That's really all there is to it. Keep doing that until we get a nice black coat on there. Let it dry a little bit, then we'll move on to the color shift. All right, it took about 5 light passes or so in order to get it to a place that I think is really good. So there we are. There is our black finish. I'm going to wait about 20 minutes to let this dry and then start with the color shifting paint on top. All right, I've just added the, I don't know, 5th or 6th coat, and it's really starting to sparkle quite a lot. And you can see the shift from purple to blue. I think it's going to look really nice overall. It's taken a couple of weeks, but I've definitely got the finish to a place where I think it is reasonable. It's not perfect, but it's reasonable looking. I think the blue to purple color shift came out really nicely. You're definitely seeing a lot more blue here than before. I was going back and forth on if I want to use black hardware or chrome. I think I'm going to go with the chrome. I think that looks a little bit nicer. I wasn't sure what would go well with the color shifting paint. But in any case, I've got this to a place that I would like. So let's take a look at the hardware that comes with it. There are a few points that I would like to make. In its favor, the electronics, everything is already soldered together. You can see they've got the capacitor for the tone pot, volume pot. Everything is well grounded on the bottom there. So these are, it's a really good set of electronics. If you want to just go with that, you don't have a soldering iron, you want everything to be really easy. Yeah, this looks really great actually. There are a couple of concerns that I have, though. One is these are the humbucker pickups that come with it. But if you look at this, we have kind of a off-white, aged ivory looking plastic ring on here. And the rest of the plastic that comes for covering up the truss rod, covering the electronics in the back, are black. So if you just use all of these parts, you're going to have mismatching parts. I don't think that that would look particularly great, so I am going to replace these rings with some black metal rings to add a little bit more consistency to it. I think it's also going to look good with the pickups that I'm going to use are also chrome faced, so I think that's going to be good. I mentioned really liking the electronics here. The other hardware that we have, we've got this bridge piece here where if you need to make really minor adjustments to what's called the intonation of the tuning so that it's in tune on the 1st fret, in tune on the 12th, 17th, 24th fret, you need to be able to adjust all of these pretty minutely to make sure that everything works out well. This you can adjust overall, left and right, by the screws on either end piece here, and you can make an adjustment to the 3 upper strings as well, the higher tuned strings. But you can't really get the individual tuning. I'm going to try this out and see how it works, but it's entirely possible I may replace this as well. It does feel pretty lightweight anyway, so it is probably not the best quality. I might get better sustain if I replace that. So all in all, those are my thoughts. Here we have a bag of screws and knobs for holding on a strap. All right, everybody, it did take me a little bit longer to finish all this than I thought that it would. Primarily, that's just because of actually doing the finishing. Waiting times for things to dry, stuff like that, takes a little bit longer. There was also just other personal issues that came up. In any case, I'm very happy with how this turned out. You can hopefully see a little bit of the purple to blue color shift going on. Did the same thing on the headstock up here. Signed it as well, just because I put it together, so why not? Main things to look for in a kit. A lot of times the hardware that comes with it is not going to be great because they're selling something fairly cheap to you. This, last I checked, it was about $110 on their website. They do have like a $60 shipping into the US because it's coming from Germany. If you're buying more things from them, that makes a lot more sense, but even with that $60 shipping, it's about equivalent to a lot of the less expensive guitar kits that you can get here in the States. Some things that I did change out were the tuners. I did put on some higher quality locking tuners. I would say that these are working pretty well. The tuning is fairly stable. I play a fair amount and I only have to tune it every couple of days before it is a little bit too far off and needs to be adjusted. Another thing that I changed is the bridge back here. This is the bridge that came with it. It's a very lightweight piece of metal. I tried to adjust it as best I could and just could not get the intonation right. What that means is when you're playing down here, it stays fairly in tune. By the time it gets up here, the guitar was getting pretty far out of tune. So yeah, this thing definitely needed to be replaced. I got something, this one in particular is called a tune-o-matic bridge. Every string individually is adjustable and it costs about 14 bucks. So really cheap upgrade. Now it is perfectly in tune all the way up and down the entire neck. Yeah, otherwise the main things that you're looking for in a good kit are going to be centered around the neck. You want to make sure that the frets are nice, that everything is good. I've had a tuner on this and played up and down the neck and it is perfectly in tune. There's no issues with the frets anywhere. A little bit of roughness. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear. I mean, you can feel a little bit of roughness when you are bending a string, but it doesn't really come through if you're actually playing, recording, anything like that. I know that people took issue with the last time that I had a guitar on here and didn't actually play anything, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's get that out of the way. Both pickups perfectly clean. Let's go ahead and put a little distortion on it. Yeah, all in all, I must say that I'm really pleased with this. The only thing that I haven't actually put on yet is there's a little black plastic. It's called a truss rod cover. It goes on here just to cover up that little gap that you see. There's a metal rod that runs all the way down the neck to adjust how far forward or back it tilts so that you can change the height of the strings and make sure that it's easy to play. I did have to do a fair amount of adjustment on that, but again, not a big deal. It's just a matter of sticking an Allen wrench in there and turning it about a quarter of a turn at a time. Let's see, other points to bring up. The frets are very nicely finished. The only point where I feel even the slightest bit of an edge on one is the second fret down here at this end, but otherwise perfectly smooth to slide up and down the guitar neck. It's overall really nice. The actual assembly of the guitar could easily be done in an afternoon. It's really just a matter of screwing the tuners, bolt the neck onto the body of the guitar, and the electronics that came with it are just, you know, put them in, plug and play. It's just a matter of screw them on, pop on, screw in the pots for the volume and the tone, and pop the knobs on there. Everything is very simple, very straightforward. One critique that I do have, actually, that now that I'm running through all of this, the kit comes with a fairly good-sized baggie of just screws of different sizes, and nowhere in the instructions do they tell you what size screw to use on anything. So it's really a matter of not trial and error, but using some common sense to figure it out. The one place where they do say what screws to use is with bolting on the neck. These 4 screws are much larger than any of the other ones, so very easy to pick up on where those go. But otherwise, it's really a matter of see which ones you think will fit best where, and just kind of go with it. It's all meant to be a learning experience, so if you are new to guitar, you're interested in how they're put together, this is a great way to go. I had a lot of fun putting it together, and this is kind of a PRS style, Paul Reed Smith style guitar, but I've always wanted a Les Paul as well, so maybe I'll get one of their single cut guitar kits for the next one, which I can say fairly confidently I will be making another one. I have some ideas going already for how to finish it. So again, like, share, subscribe, and let me know if you have any comments or questions. I'll do my best to answer. See you next time.